What is it that makes landscape paintings or drawings good? And what is it about landscape paintings that causes viewers to, when they see them, to have an intangible, almost emotional response that is almost life-changing? I have no idea, but in this video I'm going to talk about some things that I learned and enjoyed as I tried exploring drawing a landscape and painting a landscape for the first time. Welcome back to Middle-Aged Man Learns to Draw His Dog, where I am trying to learn the skills to be a professional illustrator by, first and foremost, drawing my dog every single day this year. And I'm doing all this with a 9-to-5 job and a busy family life with young kids. So this painting comes from a trip that we did at the end of July, early August of this past summer. As far as things that I learned doing this piece, I think the main things that stand out, the importance of perspective, working with color, and composition. And I'll talk a little bit about each of those. But in general, for drawings like this, paintings like this, the thing that I have found that I'm usually wanting to do is really create a sense of place, and I don't think I'm good at that or anything. I think I got that term from a podcast I listened to that was talking about the movie The Children of Men, or maybe it's just called Children of Men, but if you haven't seen it, it's an awesome movie. But there's a scene in the movie where the main character goes into his, like, one of his best friend's houses. As soon as the character walks in the door, the place feels incredibly lived in, and there's just like pictures and books and clothes like all over the place, and the furniture is interesting. And I don't know if you ever see a cat in the scene, but I don't even really remember how, but like, you know that this person is a cat owner. You know that this person is a smoker because it's like, I think, very slightly hazy when they walk in. But there's so much attention to detail and specific types of details in that scene that you're really impacted by how lived in that place feels. It feels like a real place. It feels like a place that you can imagine being in and probably have been in a place like that before. And so I love when you can capture that in drawings, where you can look at a piece and say, like, that in my eye and my brain registers as like a real and tangible thing. And I really kind of aspire to being able to have the ability to create depth and gravity and weight in scenes and characters so that they feel like, oh, that is a three-dimensional thing that I could interact with, and I know what it would feel like. I have a sense of how much it would weigh and all those things, like, you know, making things seem real. And so I think that what I was thinking about when I was doing this painting was perspective and color and composition in relationship to creating that sense of place. Like I said, I don't think I did that, even as, close to as well as I would like to one day be able to, but I think I spent a ton of time on trying to get the perspective right when I first started this, because the structures in this scene are the main thing, right? Like, they're the main thing that you're looking at, and if the structures look like they don't align with, a true, an architected plan, which means that they have, consistent vanishing points, and even though they're not all built on a straight line at all, or in parallel. Collectively, there's 4 buildings in the scene, and they're all built on different angles, and so just trying to capture that. And I think that perspective is truly one of those things that if you get it wrong, then everyone looks at the picture and goes, good try, like they're like, just kind of politely trying to be like, I don't know what's wrong with your picture. But I like, the result of the perspective. I spent, in the first minute or so of this video, you can just see me using a ruler and really trying to map all the lines to their respective vanishing points. And I had a different vanishing point for each building, and spent a lot of time just trying to hash that one out. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And one thing I will say is that I learned I really enjoy landscapes after doing this. I really enjoy, just the process of trying to get it all to look right to your eyes. This one took me way longer than I wish it had, and by the end of it, I was like, okay, I just need to be done with this, because it took me about a month actually of working on it, like here and there for many, many, many days. The other thing that I learned a lot about is color. All the elements, specifically color, I think, is such a big component of composition. While I was doing this, I was listening to different lessons on color and composition, and just learning that cooler colors work better in the back and warmer colors work better in the front, gives the piece a sense of depth. In this part right here, I was like pretty close to being done, and then I looked at this and actually had like family look at it with me, and we were like, the shadow on the barn is really nice, but it's hard to tell that the tree that the shadow is coming from is, the middle ground enough to be casting that shadow. And so that's why I darkened that tree in the background and did a little extra work to that, the tree in the middle ground there. But yeah, I think this is probably the most I've spent time thinking about how our eyes see certain colors. Like when we think about shadows, we think like all shadows are black. So like if you go to draw a shadow, your instinct is to make that shadow black. I just really appreciate learning that if you do that in a painting where the dominant colors are green and red, then like those shadows truly are nothing like black. And as soon as you make something black, it just like really just like throws the whole image off, and your eye just knows like wrong, and so it's just thinking a lot about and learning a lot about how to create darks that like kind of communicate the idea of black with really trying to not use black at all. I think I didn't use black at all in this painting because I was trying to get away from that. But I think the only other thing is that if I were to do this again, I would have thought about composition first, because I did not think about composition at all when I started painting. And then as soon as I started painting, I realized, oh, I don't have a composition plan, and I have this giant barn and a ton of grass in the foreground. And I think in the end, the natural shadows in the image do help the composition, like I think between where the dog is, that pulls your eye down to the left, and then the shadows over to the bottom right kind of shoot your eye back up. So I think it works. And in the end, I decided to just convey what was in the actual original image and not try and alter anything for the sake of composition. But I think if I were to do it again, I would have thought a little bit more about the composition ahead of time. Well, I hope that some of this chaotic rambling was interesting or helpful for folks. If you're interested in learning more about my project to draw my dog for a year, or see lessons that I've learned along the way, please click on one of the videos on the screen. Thanks for watching.